guys, Coach House here. Here to show you some mobilizations to do so we can work on our hip hinge. First thing we're going to do today is actually address the hip capsule. You know, unfortunately, like I said before, we sit a lot during the day when we drive, when we're at work, when we're at home, you know, and when we sit, we're actually sitting on our hamstrings. We're not actually sitting on our pelvis. So what that does, let me get a little bit closer to the camera, if you take this right here, instead of pushing on the back, it's actually pushing here, so it's making this tilt. So we're actually taking our femur and we're pushing it up so it's coming to the front of the hip capsule in your pelvis. So we do that over and over and over again, so that becomes the normal. Okay, so this little small mobilization I'm going to show you first without a band, and then I will describe to you how to use the band for distraction. So what you're going to do, if you need to get a mat for the floor, you're going to get on the floor, start on all fours, right? So you want to keep your leg perpendicular to the ground, straight up and down. Okay, so I'm going to use my left leg first. So I'm going to take my right leg and extend it back, and I'm going to put as much weight, I'm using body weight, onto my hip. Let me move my phone. It's right here. And I'm going to just kind of sit on it, so the force is coming straight up. So I'm taking that femur bone and kind of pushing it back in the socket. So you can kind of work it back and forth, kind of feel, if you feel any restriction in there, any impingement, any pain. Okay, let me tell you guys, if you feel any pain, the best way to describe it, if it feels sketchy, it is sketchy. So you can get somewhere, because my rule is uncomfortable is okay, pain is bad. That leaves a lot of nuance in there, but this right here is actually taking the femur, putting it back kind of where it's supposed to be so it can work, because over time you have pushed it forward. Right? So bringing my back leg over the other one, kind of rock back and forth, and just kind of make sure. And you know, you might feel some stretching back here in the glute, everything, because everything is a system of systems. So now that you've moved that bone, it's actually the tissue around it that's going, hey, look at that, there's something new. Okay, so you can take your foot, and if you move it towards your, if my left leg, I'm moving it to my right side, that is actually external rotation. I know it feels funny because the leg is going to the inside, but your femur is actually turning this way. So I'm going to kind of block my foot with my opposing knee and get a little twist in there. And then I'm going to kind of lean to the left side, lean to the right side. You know, I'm just going to kind of like just work around. It's kind of like freestyle. Just kind of find somewhere in here. It's like there's a little restriction right there. So I'm going to like, okay, I'm kind of just like work it, a little feel it. Remember to breathe the whole time. And that reminds me, a great measure if you're doing something too intense, if you automatically hold your breath, that means you're going too hard. So that means back off a little bit. So I'm intentionally breathing, coming through my nose. And sorry, I got a little sniffles today. I'm going to put a little more torsion on it, kind of pushing it with my knee. And I can kind of feel it right there. So there it is. Kind of feel it in the little side and the front. You will kind of accumulate a couple minutes in this position while we're kind of just like freestyling, working. Then we'll come back to neutral. It means my legs are going to go straight back. Now I'm going to kind of go bring my foot to the outside. So that's internal rotation. You will not be able to move as far right here because the external rotation is much greater than the internal rotation. Still doing the same thing, still being mindful. This is coming straight up and down, and most of my body weight is coming straight through my knee. I'm going to hang out here, and you can actually take your knee and kind of block that ankle so you keep that external rotation. You kind of lean to your right, lean to your left, and you kind of feel it. You kind of feel a spot, and just kind of like you're just trying to clean that up a little bit. And so what you're doing is kind of resetting that joint. You're kind of like pushing it back into the capsule. Yep. So we're going to accumulate a couple minutes on this side. We're going to flip around and do the other side for a couple minutes. And then what we do is we retest. So we do go back, we do both sides, and then we go to the hip hinge again like we did in the test video and see if you can tell a difference. See you tomorrow.